Hi guys, welcome to RMSM Studio. My name is Rama. I'm a registered architect and founder of RMSM Studio. In today's video, we're going to talk about creating a study schedule. A lot of people have asked me about this one, so let's jump right into it. So number one, you're going to want to figure out your overall hourly study goal. So this could be like 100 hours, which is what I normally recommend. For the technical exams, sometimes people study a lot more. I think I aim to study around 10 weeks for the PPD and PDD exam based off of the Hyperfine guide for studying. So that's how I determine my overall study goals for, those exams. But generally, I recommend that people aim for around 100 hours. And this was based off a recommendation I originally got from Mike from the Young Architect website, podcast, bootcamp, academy. He does a lot of stuff, but he's a really great resource for the AREs, so definitely check out his stuff. So normally aim for around 100 hours. So once you figure out your overall goal, you need to break that into number two, your weekly study goal. So you need to take out those 100 hours and figure out how they fit in within your life. So if you have work, if you have family obligations, you need to try and make sure the 100 hours can fit within your weekly schedule without creating an undue burden, and so it's not unreasonable. I normally aim to try and study for around 13 to 15 hours a week while also working full-time. So this amount will vary for you, and it usually ended up with me having to study for around 2 months. So that's around 100 hours spaced out over 2 months, and some people might say, that's really slow. But again, I'm working full-time. If you maybe stop work and focus on your exams full-time, maybe you can do it in way less time. But that's on average how much I studied on a weekly basis. And number three, this can be very helpful if you've had fails, is to check how many hours you've studied for the exam so far. So maybe you've already studied and gone a bit into the textbooks for the exam. So make sure that you add that into your overall goal, because it's not like, it didn't happen. And just helping you along the way towards making that study goal. And you also really need to look into number four, the level of depth of each material. Again, if you've done an exam before and you failed, maybe you need to reevaluate the way that you studied a specific material. For example, for contracts, just reading contracts all the way through, yes, you can do that, but are you truly absorbing the information? I do have a video on my different resource types, and that's the way that I sort of organize resources and the level of depth I go into for each one. So really look at maybe, do you need to read it more than once? Do you need to take better notes? Do you need to make diagrams? Do you need to make flashcards? So really look at the level of depth that you're putting into each material, and make sure that you think about it in terms of its level of importance. Like if it's not something very important, you don't need to be going to all of those lengths. Maybe just read it one time. All right, so in terms of the overall exam process, first of all, in terms of getting started, you want to get a good overview of the exam topic. So this isn't the same as going through the ARE exam objectives, which I have another video on here. This is different. This is just sort of looking at each of the topics in general. For this, what I kind of used was Pluralsight. Their videos were very helpful in terms of getting a good overview of the exams. And for Pluralsight, they definitely recommend using it as a bookend at the beginning and end of the exams. Normally I just use it for the beginning. So definitely try and get an overview of the different exam topics. Next, that goes into understanding the test itself. So this can involve going through the ARE handbook, seeing the exact questions that are being asked within the exam, or the specific objectives within the exam, what they are. And that will lead into understanding the objectives, or getting into detail with the objectives. And this will be the bulk of your study time, actually, in terms of sort of going through point by point, objective 1.1, 1.2. The Young Architect Academy does a really good job of going through this. I also use the same technique, or a similar technique, not exactly the same, in my CE studio, where I go through the different objectives that I find critical for the construction and evaluation exam. So definitely getting into detail with the objectives is very important for the AREs because that's what they use to actually create the exam. And then you need to work on building your confidence before your exams. This can involve doing practice exams, and the hardest practice exams that you can find. For the technical exams, I know that Elif's exams at arequestions.com are definitely used as like the standard for the most complicated sets of practice questions. For PCM and PA, the walk in the ARE exams are definitely very challenging. I found them extremely challenging. I thought I was going to fail the practice management exam when I took walking the ARE exam for the first time, but I didn't because I sort of used that exam to figure out the topics I was weak in. So build confidence, but also realize your weaknesses and try and battle them out before you get to the actual exam yourself. So that's the way that I create a schedule for my ARE studying. Let me know if you have any additional questions in the comments below. I'm going to also post links to all the resources that I mentioned in this video. So thanks so much for watching, and as always, happy studying. Bye.